have a couple of, well, actually 3 new things that have come up this weekend. One is yesterday, after taking in the day, I've been writing, and I wrote a blog post called Happily Ever After Now.
Those are really good words together, aren't they?
They are.
That says it all.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, and so what dropped in was the movie from Bill Murray, What About Bob, where he says, gimme, gimme, I need, where we are always in that kind of grabbing mode, but we're not necessarily centered in the moment of enjoying the journey and letting that be complete.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that because it was just so enlightening.
You're all in a different place than you were. And you're all more ready to just let what is be enough. And it is certain that that new vibrational stance will serve you in obvious ways immediately. And that's how beliefs come about. In other words, you offer a vibration which brings you a response. And if it's a favorable response, then you continue to hold that vibrational stance. And then you just continue to live happily ever after.
Right.
Yeah.
In the now.
Yeah. You know, you'll reach the place where even juicy resistance is delicious, because something will be happening and you can feel that it's got you out of whack, and you'll know there's something really good coming for you, because there's a new desire and you're not fearful about regaining your balance because you're so good at it already. So now you're just interested in what this is about. What is this uncovering within me that I was unaware was there? And where will this new desire lead? And how much juice of satisfaction is in that? Last night, Esther and her girlfriends were chewing bubble gum and blowing bubbles. Got a little competitive. But the reason that we want to give it to you is that after a while, that stick of gum just lost its flavor. Contrast gives you a new stick of gum.
Right. That's great.
And then after a while, you're just ready for some more sticks of gum. And if you look at it that way, this is more juicy stuff. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She went to bed chewing a stick of gum. And unlike what her mother always told her, she did not wake up with it in her hair.
So earlier today, not too long ago, you were talking about desire vibrating just ahead of your readiness. And what dropped in when you said that was, I don't know if it's in construction, when we get behind the car that says follow me, I had that drop in as like our desire, and we just keep moving forward.
It's interesting though, because it's a cycle that's so complete. Once it is in motion, you really can't discern what's following what. Contrast produces the impetus for the desire, the asking, to go into the vortex. And then source answers, and then you get into the receiving mode, and then contrast produces another desire, and then source answers and you get into the receiving mode. So there is this cycling of asking and receiving and asking and receiving and asking and receiving and asking and receiving. So it sounds like the belief is following the desire, but after a while the belief and the desire are so blended together that it's not like one is ahead of the other. It's like there's a balance within it. It's like we've just been saying recently, although it's been implied in what we've been saying all along, is that step 1 is your asking, and step 2 is source answering, and step 3 is you being in the receiving mode. And once you get really good at step 3, which we're calling step 4, which is the mastery of step 3, where you hang around in that aligned state more and more and more, then often source will flow inspiration to you to be the step 2 answer to somebody else's step 1. But source only does that. Source only inspires you to be the bird that carries the message if you're in the receiving mode to receive it. And so there are lots of times that you just receive an impulse to go someplace and be at a certain place, and you rendezvous with someone, and you can feel that that's what happened. That was you being there for them. And the satisfaction that you receive lets you know that you being there for them was for you too. Yeah.
You're responding in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. So after a little while, it just becomes this dance with little or no hesitation. Sometimes people will say, Abraham, I've been following you for 10 years. And we say, actually, we've been following you. And they wonder what we mean. And we say, because it is your desire that summoned us to you. And so we followed the path of your desire, and then we embraced it fully. And then we offered a signal which called you to it. But who's following who? You lived life and asked, and we followed your asking and embraced it. Then we held a steady vibration of it, which you don't do. Could, but you usually don't. We held a steady vibration of it and called you to it. And now you manifested the new, which caused you to launch another desire, which we followed you to. And so who's following who? We're all in this together.
Would you call that holding the space?
Your inner being certainly is holding the space, keeping the light on, keeping the vibration steady so that your guidance system can work. Because if there were not something for you to feel your guidance against, if there were not a relativity that you could recognize, then there could be no guidance. If you got into your car, your navigational system, and it did not have a tracking system so that it knew where you are, and you just told it where you wanted to go, if it doesn't have any relationship between where you are, then it could not take you to where you want to be. It could take you somewhere, but it wouldn't have any relativity. Or if you got into your car and the tracking system knew where you are and you didn't program it to anything, then it can't guide you. In other words, guidance is about the relationship between where you are and somewhere else that you're wanting to be. And so what makes all of this eternal is you said, from your non-physical perspective, I'll go into the physical time and space. And we said, because you were a piece of us, you were a projection of us, you were an extension of us. And the part that is us says, we'll hang around here. And the part that is you said, I'll go over there. And we said, and we'll all stick together. And we all said yes. And then splat, you were born. And then you explored. And then you asked, and then we received, and then we knew, and then you tuned in, and then you knew, and then we were all in a new place, and then off you went again. And that's what eternity is about. And if it's not fun, you're missing the point.